My apologies, everyone. Truly. I swear. I did not forget. I swear I did not forget. The truth is, I went out to watch a movie. I know. I went out, had a good time. I enjoyed myself, right? I just couldn't make it back in time. What can I say? Guilty as charged. I tried. I truly did. Sugar says it's been so long since I've been here, but mostly gonna lurk though. All right. Yeah. Let's bring it back to topic. Since everybody is here, I'm sure you guys see the. Oh, let me get the game on screen first. Was the movie good? I watched The Menu. Do you guys know the movie? The Menu. It's it's not really pushed that hard. I didn't see many ads about it, but I did see the trailer once when I was watching another movie, and I was like, okay, piqued my interest a little bit. So I was just like, cool. Went to go check it out. It's nice. No spoilers though. So for people who want to watch it, no spoilers. It was nice. It was nice. So yeah. Today. No, I see you guys. I see you guys really like the spicy discussions, don't you? You guys really like to jump in and just scream opinions out into the ethos. So today, everybody gets an opportunity to share their thoughts. All right, we're going to be talking about bad characters in Genshin Impact. And when I say bad characters, I don't mean. Let's not make this so simple, because meta-wise, you can just calculate damage numbers, optimization, synergies. You can easily tell when a character is good, when a character is bad. But when I say bad characters, I mean, like, are there characters that you feel just plays really, really, really awkwardly? Like, I don't mean fun. I just mean, like, design-wise, their kit is just bad. I don't know how else to say it. Listen, today is not an opportunity to dog on each other, but it's just like, if you guys ever felt like you were part of a minority saying a character is bad, let's hear it. Let's hear it. And I want reasonings. I don't want to say like, for example, you can say Ayaka has terrible design. For example, I'm not saying she does. I'm just saying, oh, Ayaka has terrible design. Her whole philosophy is like, oh, you need to freeze the characters, and then then you can dish out your damage. And nowadays, modern Genshin, you need to pair her with Shinhe to get maximum damage. So technically, she needs another character to buff her damage. Blah blah. Like, for example, right? Stuff like that. Like, you could choose a meta character. You could say Kazuha is bad because XYZ reason. You could say that. That's fine. But you got to back it up with reason. Like, why does he not work? What's wrong with his kit? We want to stray away from, oh, it's boring, because that's very subjective, right? You could point to certain things like his constellation scale's bad or something. I don't know. Like, Kazuha is a bad example because he's a very well thought out character, in my opinion. His kit is simple yet complex. So very difficult to pick this guy apart. But is there a definitive worst character in the game? Now that is some kind of truth that we can chase, can we not? Don't say bad. Even we aren't perfect in real life. Oh, I never said we were. There are bad people in real life, but just like there are bad characters in the game. I think, as opposed to shying away from this kind of stuff, we should just embrace it. Sure, a character can be bad, but I can put in more effort to make them work. Right? We can embrace that. We can, like, the key to loving something is to embracing their flaws, not ignoring it. Like, the second you choose to ignore something, I think it's very different from embracing it. For example, we can sit here and say Klee's entire kit sucks ass, but I love her anyways. I'm still gonna build her. That is embracing it. But sitting here saying Klee is the best character in the game because I love how she plays, that's just selling a lie, selling a dream. Which I don't know how I feel about that. I think if you truly love a character, you should just embrace the fact that the character is whatever it is. But you should also be willing to put in the extra work necessary to make them shine. So there's gonna be many bad characters today discussed. Travis Rio says, I pulled a Chi-Chi, I'm not feeling very good. Hey, but Chi-Chi's the best battery in the game, right, chat? Chat? Chi-Chi battery? Can we get a Chi-Chi best battery? Let's just start the night rolling with a Chi-Chi battery spam, please. Yeah, if you get Chi-Chi, you got like the best battery in the game, bro. Xinyan Albedo split scaling is such a bad. Okay, perfect. That's the perfect place to start this conversation. Okay, when it comes to bad character design, is split scaling. This is an atrocity. This has been a menace upon Genshin's design, and that is. Split scaling is not bad in concept. All right, you guys understand me? Like split scaling is not bad in concept, but in execution, it's so difficult to get right. The main problem with split scaling, for example, does Toma have split scaling? Like a little bit, pyro damage, and what was it? What was his other stat? Was it HP? I don't know. Like, I think Toma suffered from this as well, if I remember correctly. Zhen Yan suffered from this the most. She had triple scaling. It's not even split. Like, I mean, it is split, but it's split 3 ways. She scaled with defense. She scaled with pyro. She scaled with physical. Obviously, you could only choose 2 at the end of the day. But goddamn, like this is what makes her such a bad character. Is because you try to do a bit of everything, and her kit doesn't scale hard enough into. And like I guess defense is probably the stat that works the best. So you could try to like just go crazy on the defense, but then what ends up happening is you have a fat shield, but then like you do almost no damage, and your pyro application is negligible. What they could have done for her is just drop the physical damage. Like they just why like why whose idea was it? Like, can you guys imagine you were all sitting in a room coming up with a sick 4-star character, rock and roll 4-star character design, pyro shield, synergizes with like some sort of like musical vibe, and then that one dude was just like, you know what would be a great thing idea? Let's give her physical scaling. Everybody? And Dawei was just like, write that down. Yeah, that's good. Triple scaling 4-star character. This is gonna sell like hot cakes, baby. Fucking. And then it just fell flat on its face. Like it was trying to do too much. It was trying to do way too much. This character, I guess it was an experiment. You can see they tried to do something similar with Toma as well afterwards, right? Similar, but different. I think Toma is a slightly more successful version of Xinyan Yan, but still failed to execute. Character like Albedo somewhat can get away with this because he is a 5-star character, and his kit is incredibly simplified. Very straightforward. And with the geo-resonance change, this actually covered a lot of the potential issues that would have been down the line. While when he first got released, geo-resonance was kind of doo-doo. So that's why on release he wasn't really well received. Afterwards, he kind of made up for it. But yeah, so that's basically the case with split scaling. Is they wanted to do split scaling, but 4-star characters just didn't have the stats to back it up. And I'll argue even 5-star characters won't have enough stats in their kit to justify split scaling, which until artifacts that comes out that gives both defense and, let's say, something else, right? I don't know. Like you need more revenues of stats if you want to justify split scaling. And that's why I think, like, look at the characters released ever since. Hoyoverse just dropped split scaling ever since. Singular scaling, right? All the characters, the strong ones nowadays, just scale with one. Like, you even have characters that come out that people have been stacking triple HP, triple EM, just going crazy, right? The triple EM stacking Dendro characters is due to the fact that Hoyoverse understands double split scaling just doesn't work. They can't make it work, and they're not going to take a risk with their entire Dendro roster being like they might introduce another split scaling character in the future. They might, right? They might go back to that concept and be like, all right, we're going to revisit split scaling now and see if we can make this work. So, we'll see. I don't think like, I'll be honest, I don't think Hoyoverse is going to touch split scaling and risk it with 5-star characters anytime soon, because that's their cash cow. Risking split scaling with 5-star characters is either going to end up broken, right? You're either going to end up creating a broken ass character, or you're going to end up making a very underperforming 5-star. And is that a risk financially that Hoyoverse is wanted to take? You guys are smart. You guys probably know exactly what Hoyoverse loves the most in this world. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure it out whether or not Hoyoverse is willing to take a financial risk of that magnitude. Okay? So, that's a great start. That is an absolute home run of a start when it comes to bad character design. But you also have to understand, Hoyoverse is an experimental company. They love experimenting with this stuff. They love testing stuff out, always pushing the boundaries through events, through limited characters, through like a story, like, I guess even pushing the boundaries in character design even, right? Like, have you guys realized they tried something with the whole Eula thing? Where's Eula? They tried something with the whole Eula thing. With her backstory and whatnot being, like, I'm not gonna say it, but, and then showing that she's trying to do right by modern standards, that didn't sit well. So what happened? They stopped doing that. They stopped, because that's a very sensitive part of history that they incorporated, and they stopped doing it because they realized the 14-year-olds who play this game can't handle that kind of open-minded thinking and forward thinking. So they dumbed it down. It's all just limit testing, boundary testing, and this is all going to get carried over into their other titles. Depending on the demographic that is playing their game, they likely will incorporate different stories and different plots and different like levels of depth to these characters and their backstory. TechVirus says, Walrus needless restrictions in a unit. Nilou having Dendro and Hydro units only in team to play her best role. Techie, great segue into, I guess it's a very modern issue. Very modern, very unique. Is like these extremely niche units. So Techie, are you saying that Nilou is a bad character, right? By design. You're saying that. Remember, people, we're not talking about damage. Don't bring damage into this, because I personally feel like damage dealt is irrelevant to good character design. For example, right? Here's the argument. If I release a character, or if Hoyoverse release a character that all they do is auto attack, every auto attack they can do 30, like if you stack stats, their auto attack does 50k damage per auto attack. And this is their auto attack string. This is what their auto attacks look like. You tell me if this is a good character. Let's just say, for argument's sake, each attack can do up to 100,000 per attack. Is that a good character? Right? Damage is irrelevant from whether a character has good design. That's why I don't think we should be arguing, oh, but that does so much damage. Well, it can still be a bad character, right? It could be a poor design. On the contrary, you can say a character has great design but was ruined due to poor scaling, poor damage optimizations. For example, Sino. Like, I think Sino's Sino. We'll talk about Sino later. The fuck that. I don't want to ruin the night from the first like 20 minutes of the stream. But Nilou is or is you make a good Queen's Guard with that move? I don't know. I think I can only keep that up for another minute or two. So Nilou is a character that I think some people, a small group of people, is worried for the future because HoYoverse is basically starting to funnel you in, like forcibly funneling you into a certain playstyle. Can we say that? Like, right? A certain playstyle. Like within the confines of Dendro and Hydro, you're free to choose whoever the hell you want. But then you have to take into account characters kit, ICD in some cases. I'm generalizing, right? I'm generalizing. Oh no, Jabba, stop! What are you doing, girl? What you doing? Yes, take your toy and run off to... Yeah, so... When HoYoverse starts cultivating playing experience to this level, how much more can... What more can we accept? What if a character comes out in the future? It's like, you can only play this character with other sword users from Liyue who is Hydro. I know it's never going to get that bad. I know it's not going to. I'm just using a very extreme example. But my point is, where do you draw the line? Where is the line drawn? Sure, elemental typings means all characters from that element. And in the future, we're going to get more Hydro, we're going to get more Dendro, and it could be fun and interesting to experiment. Let's say if we had like 20 Hydro characters and 20 Dendro characters. I don't think this issue would be as problematic. But... You see, the whole point of this conversation is like, but where do we draw the line? This is something that I do think is an important conversation to have. And I have made videos about this as well, right? So what do you guys think? Walrus, her sales absolutely terrible. That drew the line. Somehow I don't deny. You can't deny that. You can't mess with the numbers. I mean, you can't lie about the numbers, but it's interesting, right? You know what's funny? Here's is this irony? Is this an irony? It might be. All right, here's the irony. We are okay with content creators telling us what's the best way to play a character, but we are not okay with a game company or developers to design characters in a way that they want us to play. Is it me, or does that sound a little ironic, right? We are completely fine watching a guide with some random dude on the internet who's worked out the math behind how the character was designed and synergies on what's the best way to play and how to play, the best team to play, the best down to the best skill rotation. We're completely okay with that, but we are not okay with a game company that designs a character in a certain way which enforces a certain playstyle or a certain synergy or certain pairings. I don't know. To me, it sounds kind of ironic that how we think that, because I guess in the case of the content creators, we are already benefactors of owning the character, and we just want to make this character shine. But it leaves a bad taste in our mouth when the game we feel manipulated by a large corporation in how they sell their products to us. Maybe that's like maybe we are antagonizing these big corporations by default, but we feel closer to these content creators who are, because let's be honest, both are making money off you. Can we just all agree on that? Both of them are making money from you. You're a customer to both of them. To the content creator, you're watching their videos, right? They're profiting from that. To the game company, they design these characters, so you pay them money to get this character, or in some cases you don't. In some cases, for the content creators, you have ad block, they don't get anything from you, right? But in the case of HoYoverse, you're a free-to-play player, you save up your gems, they get nothing from you. So it's like these two entities are very similar. However, we have an issue with one over the other. Jake Nguyen says, "Nah, all company is the bad guys." You see, that's the mentality. I like we. It's because they make money off of us, right? And they make a lot of money off of us. And I think that's part of the problem. Is like they're making so much money, yet they're still employing these like greedy ass tactics. I'm not gonna say Nilou is like personally, I don't think Nilou is has bad character design. I think Nilou is a fairly restrictive character. It's the first of her kind, and I think of course people are gonna be taken aback. Be like, why are you like we get it. Dendrill's cool, but why force us? Right? See, this is the thing. Remember we used to talk about this is a psychological thing. If you try to sit someone down forcefully, or get someone to do something forcefully. For example, right now, if I told everybody, be like, yo guys, become channel members, get channel member, do it now. I'm like, what you guys don't like, you guys immediately feel repulsed. Like what the fuck? Like, dude, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. It's extremely interesting how the human psyche works in this manner. Is that the more you force them or the more you urge them to do something, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And in this case, HoYoverse pretty much was like, you gotta play Nilou like this. You gotta do it, man. You gotta play Nilou like this if you want her to function as a high tier character. So does that make her have bad design though? Because if you play her the way HoYoverse designed her to be played, she feels phenomenal. She feels like a pretty good character. I mean, phenomenal is probably a little pushing it, but she's a good character. I wouldn't say she's top tier, but she's a good character. Nilou is like Shenhe, very niche. Yeah, like if we talk about Nilou, we have to talk about Shenhe. Shenhe is put in only cryo teams, my man. Nilou can be paired with Nilou can be played with, like, sure. I mean, I guess you can put Shenhe in a melt team and Copium, right? You can put her in a melt team. You can put Nilou in a vaporized team. You can probably put Nilou in a freeze team. Can you? Probably not. She wouldn't work in a freeze team. Just doesn't work. Vape team is probably, I mean, who am I to say she could be in a freeze team? Who am I to say she's not fit? But it just sucks ass to play them in that regards, right? Of course, because they were never designed for it. As much as these options exist, they don't work very well, which sucks. It does. I'll say it. It sucks. It feels bad because you see it. It's right there. The potential is all there. Why doesn't it work? Why? Because if it did, she'd be broken. They cannot sell characters in those categories if she worked. Right? If Shenhe was a cryo buffer, was a melt applicator, was like a freeze applicator, was like what else? Super conduct. Like just make Shenhe do everything that every cryo unit should do. She has great off-field damage. She has great on-field damage. She's a buffer. She heals. She can give you a shield. You can marry her. She'll buy you a house. She'll bear your child. Right? It's like then they can't sell you other products. And I think it all boils down to the fact that HoYoverse is trying the best to bottle each character and package them in like these neat little packages without intruding upon their other opportunities. They have all these other opportunities they want to experiment with, they want to push you towards, but they cannot have one character do that many things. So then we arrive at an issue like Nilou, a Hydro character that would be utterly broken had they not put this single restriction on her, which turned her from a potentially broken unit to just an okay, decent unit. And does that make her a bad character, though? That's the question, right? Because that's a discussion we're having right now. Does that make Nilou a bad character? So with each one of these characters, we're going to put it to a vote. So after we discuss and talk about I'm gonna do a vote. Nilu. I can say good design or bad design. Feel free to interpret the word design however you want. I'm just gonna put it to a vote and see what you guys say. And then we'll move on to the next character. We'll just keep moving through, cycling through these characters. It's so much fun talking about this. I know, like, everybody knows there are good characters in the game, but what about the bad characters? And remember, I constantly want to remind you guys, bad character does not mean bad damage. The character could have amazing kit design that you feel is extremely fun, but does bad damage, or has bad support, or has bad utility. For example, some people might say Dory's kit was designed very well. She's a good character with good design, but it was ruined because Hoyoverse was too reserved with her scalings, or her damage, or her application, or whatever, her ICD, or whatever the hell. You could argue that point, right? You could say she has a good kit that gels well with other characters, but is ruined by damage. Like, she just doesn't do enough. You could say that. Ayato. Wait, Debayam Mando wants to talk about Ayato. Okay, let's talk about Ayato. Wait, you guys think Ayato is a bad character? Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Please take your time. Why is Ayato a bad character? Or, like, why does he have bad character design? Remember, we're not picking people. We're not picking on people. We're just trying to talk about this. Like, why Ayato? Let's see. Somebody thinks otherwise, though. Somebody says Ayato is the best Hydro. Oh, okay. Wanderer teaser is up. Oh, you guys were answering someone's question. Oh, never mind then. Wait. Wanderer teaser is up. Wanderer teaser is up. Yo. Bro, if he stomps on us again, I'm if the guy stomps on us again, I'm please don't stomp on us again. I hate having to go on Twitter to go search this up, because it's usually, like, on Twitter the fastest. Where is it? Someone send me the link. Where is the Wanderer teaser? I don't see it. Where's the Wanderer? It's not up. Damn it! Oh, I see it 2 minutes ago. It's up. All right, let's do it. Let's do this. Let us do this. Okay, I'm gonna record this. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm wrapping through this because I just want to get to the video. It released 2 minutes ago. It's Wanderer, the teaser. Chat is actually with me. We're actually live right now. Somebody just injected this right into the feed. I was like, oh my god, Wanderer. We're gonna watch this. It's actually 2 minutes long. You guys can't see it. 2.5 minutes long. They're really putting it all in here, right? So hopefully they drop some more lore for this character. I don't want to get stomped on again. That animation just looks incredibly goofy. Apart from that, let's just get right into it. Let's go.
Once more, I have lost my heart. It hurts. My skin feels like it's on fire, burning me alive, turning me to ash.
You mean, you wish you had a heart? Have you ever heard this story before? There once was a puppet soldier whose greatest wish was to be with the ballerina doll forever and ever. But the soldier didn't have a heart and didn't know where his feelings came from. One day, his owner didn't want him anymore and threw him away into a fire. But even in the flames, his eyes never left the ballerina. The next day, The people found a tiny heart in the ashes left by the fire.
Probably ashes in the shape of a heart. But that's not a real heart.
Maybe, but what if hearts can be born from ashes?
How dare you die like this? And break your promise to me. What a joke. It's just ashes. Nothing left but ashes. If only I could have burned to death in that fire too. No. In fact, I wish I'd never been born at all. Never been born at all. Is that really all you wish for?
Stop it. Stop it. Don't do this to us. How did they manage to do it every time? Like a character that a couple patches ago we were like, yeah, kick his ass. Yeah, we're gonna teach him a lesson. And now they're selling the sympathy. They're playing the sympathy card. They're tugging at our heartstrings. Oh, I know, sad. Not gonna lie, all right. Eyes got a little misty there. Just I don't know. It's like, yes, they want you to like these characters. Mm. I Is this one of the saddest backstories? I mean, I can't say I get it, but it's just like his backstory is filled with so much pain and suffering. But does that justify? Listen, all right, here's the thing. Does it justify the things that he's done? Sure, you may have had a rough time, bad history, but does it justify you being an asshole to other people? Exactly. So, while I do feel bad, yeah, the guy has been through a lot, right? In fact, his entire purpose and creation, without getting into like spoilers, is like, it's also filled with sadness. It's like, it was with good intentions as well, right? Like, because Raiden wanted him to lead a good life. Like, the purpose was never to have him suffer, but due to a consequence of, a bunch of unfortunate situations that piled up, which led to him being the way he is. So, right now, my biggest question for Scaramouche is like, whose side is he going to be on? This reminds me a lot of if you guys watch One Piece, no major spoilers, like reminds me a lot about Aokiji. So I'm just like, whose side are you on, man? Like, are you like, I feel as if going forward he's still going to play a major role in the story, and of course Scaramouche is an incredible combat asset regardless of which side he is going to be on. So I don't see him returning back to the Fatuis. And I feel like now that this teaser is released, there's a lot more focus on Scaramouche's past and his purpose, or his new purpose. What's gonna drive him going forward? What's his end goal? And I don't know if Hoyoverse even has the space for this. It's like, what was he chasing for with the Fatuis? And how has that changed? And I'm actually really curious how many people is suddenly just gonna be like, oh, I forgive him. Everything he's ever done is now justified. You know, we're cool now. Me and Skara, we cool now. We can vibe. Like, this dude has some serious, serious issues. I'm just so I, I kind of want. I don't know if I should say this, but I kind of want to see him just keep suffering. What's that? What's that? There's a part of me that doesn't want him to find peace, and I think he's such a okay. This is speaking from like character design. Having every single character find peace and resolution, sure, it feels nice for us as viewers, as somebody who's experiencing the story from a third person perspective, but a true chaotic world, as Genshin obviously is, there sometimes isn't happy endings, and I think Scaramouche is somebody who suffers from his consequences, but at the same time he's done some pretty questionable things, okay? And I don't think a character that has fallen so far should have a redemption. Not everybody can redeem themselves. There are some things you just can't redeem from, and I think this toy soldier story is so beautiful in that in the end he does burn. He does burn, he does cease to exist. Sure, the thing he wanted is pure. This story simplifies Scaramouche's situation by like 10 billion miles, right? But I think in the end, having Scaramouche burn is going to do a lot more for his character. I don't know if you guys are with me. I don't know if people watching this is going to be with me on this one. Not all characters deserve a happy ending, and I think Scaramouche is definitely one of those characters. I can actually see him sacrificing himself in the end. Like, I can see himself sacrificing himself in the end, and that's going to be the reason for his heart, right? His heart. So I feel like in this case, the story is setting, oh my god, is the story setting it up so that Scaramouche has to die to find his heart? Listen. Stop typing, stop thinking, listen. In order for Scaramouche to break free from like this, because the whole image is like he feels like a puppet. Look, he feels like a puppet that yearns for his heart. And with the story of the what's this, the Nutcracker soldier. The Nutcracker soldier was thrown into the fire and he burned, right? But what if Scaramouche in the end makes an active decision to burn himself in search for a heart? I don't know. Can a character be playable in the story but be dead? It would be a very bittersweet ending to a character, but I think it's an ending that really fits Scaramouche's character. I don't know. I don't think he deserves a happy ending. That's just my personal bias. But what do you guys think, right? I think this is definitely one of the more heartfelt ones. It goes pretty deep. For a second there, I wavered. I was like, oh, I think I can forgive him. But on second thought, I just can't. I can't. This man is... I can't. He's not Tartaglia, all right? Mr. Worldwide probably has done some really, really messed up stuff as well, but I think Scaramouche is on a whole nother level. Okay, with that said, comment down below what you guys think. Can you forgive him? Can you not forgive him? Do you think he deserves a happy ending or not? I'm gonna go back to talking with chat, and we're gonna figure this out. Actually, we're gonna talk about this. Until then, until next time, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace. Bye. All right. Does he deserve a happy ending? I'm gonna do a poll right now. Does start a poll. Does Skara deserves a happy ending. Let's see. What do people think? I'm sure there's a lot of people who want him to find peace and just be a happy person, find a heart, right? And live happily ever after. Maybe he returns to Inazuma, he helps Raiden run the country. I don't know. Says he acts like a little Biong. Learn from Nahida, she had it way worse. But the thing is, Nahida... Wait, isn't Scaramouche 1,000 years old? Did I remember wrong? How old is Scaramouche? Isn't he older than the current Nahida? The difference between Scaramouche and Nahida... Oh, so he's around Nahida's age. Similar. The thing about Nahida is she didn't have stimulation to what Scaramouche had a lot. He was able to gain access to the world. Sometimes freedom is a curse, is it not? In Scaramouche's situation is he was able to roam the world. He was able to see things. He was able to experience things. He was able to see like how people are. And in that he kind of got screwed over. So I don't know, like in this case, yes, if you look at it from a third person's perspective, Nahida had it worse. She was basically a prisoner for all that time. But Scaramouche had freedom, but yet he had no guidance. He had no one to really care for him. At least he had companions. Nahida had nobody. Would you call those companions? I guess you could. But it's like, I don't know. I think Scaramouche had much more on his plate than Nahida did. Nahida just had no freedom, no choice, nothing. She was dealt a fate that arguably is worse than death. But Scaramouche had, I guess what a lot of people would be arguing against Scaramouche would be like, well, he had free will, technically, right? He had free will. He could have chose not to do any of those things. He could have chose to be a good person. Could have chose not to be a brat, but he didn't, right? He abused his godly powers. He was not nice to people, and now looking back, now you see him in this current state, and you're just wondering, like, well, what would old Scaramouche do to the current Scaramouche to see him in such a vulnerable state? I think old Scaramouche would abuse this. Okay, let's be honest. If the old Scaramouche, the cold-blooded version of Scaramouche, saw somebody or saw an enemy in this state of confusion, vulnerability, would he stop and care about them, or would he just strike them down? He'd strike them down. Don't even bother answering that. Scaramouche is not one to give a damn about your feelings. And now you see him with feelings. So it's like even the old version of himself would not have, given in to this weakness. I don't know, bro. We definitely need to know more. All right, we need to know more. How sad does it get? How much sadder does it get? Did he have more trauma? Did he lose his favorite dog? Right? Did he have this is the thing. They're gonna add because what ends up happening in anime trope is like the loners always ends up with an animal companion, and then like they used to be normal and secluded. They live in the mountains or some crap like that with their Shiba Inu, and one day something came and killed their dog, and then they just freaking lost it, and then they went berserk. They started killing people. They saw no light at the end of the tunnel. They went just total pure evil. And then multiple seasons later, you realize that the person who killed his dog was from the Fatui, and they used that as a way to trigger him and get him to release his powers, and eventually manipulate him to join their dark side and abuse his powers for their evil plot. Some BS like that. Listen, if I just came out and said that, and then Hoyoverse ends up running this trope, that is such an overused trope in storytelling to the point where I don't care if Scaramouche even has a goddamn pigeon as a companion. I'm gonna be disappointed. But then again, it's Hoyoverse. You know, they source a lot of inspiration from these other anime tropes. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you had some freaking lizard companion friend. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Anyways, let's hop back into the game. It's a good teaser, though. It's a good teaser. Obviously adds a bit more complexity to the character. It's just, I don't know. Does that justify it? I mean, Nahida is a bird. If I could design a character, how would it look? I don't know. I'm not an artist, but I want a character that's more beastly, like more focused, like an animal hybrid, not a centaur or a mermaid, not that hybrid, but like a character with, let's say Dehya, but with a little more wolf-ish features to it, like something like that. Because I think Genshin characters are too refined. Like look at what the fuck, look at these outfits. They're way too refined. I want a more ragged character. I want a character that's like raised in the wild. It just has a more animalistic nature to them, like Razor, but more like push, like yes, like Razor, but push him more, right? A 5-star Razor that when he uses his burst skill, he goes on all fours and he just like comes in and scratches you like that. Just you know what I mean? I don't know. I do a bit of acting on the side. Like you know, you get what I mean. When you press your burst skill, they get on all fours. They turn into like they have like some sort of aura over them, and they turn into like a beast form, and they go pure melee, fast attack with like crazy combos. They can like do flips in the air. They can teleport behind the enemies, and they have like insane combo attacks. Obviously, they also have their elemental typing infusion, and which cannot be overridden by Bennett. Too much work for Hoyo. Hey, just hire me. Did you guys not see my scratching animation just now? I mean, tell me you guys wouldn't want to see 6R5, a character that turns into like a wolf and scratches the enemies like this. But yeah, I'm sure Hoyoverse can do a much better job. The whale from Kokomi's trailer. What the Razor probably smells like dirty underwear. You know, this is the thing. Do you guys really want full dive technology? I know we're back to this other distant topic. Imagine if you have full dive technology and all 5 of your senses can be manipulated, and you actually meet your husbando and waifu. What if you hate the way Nilu smells? What if you don't like Raiden's feet as much as you thought you did? Right? What if Kokomi actually doesn't have a fishtail, and that's just part of her clothing? And what if Kaching, in fact, does not have cat ears? Yeah, what if Kokomi smells like fish? I mean, listen, if full mod technology exists, there's gonna be a mod that makes Raiden's feet smells like onions, gonna make Kokomi smell like fish, gonna make Yaimiko smell like a wild animal. I'm just saying. And gonna make Hu Tao jump scare you every 5 seconds. Turn off the smelling simulator. Right? Sometimes maybe full dive is not the best. Goku says, I'm not diving for that. I'm diving for flying, magic, etc. Goku, are you sure you're not diving for Chi-Chi? Get it? Because you're Goku and your wife is Chi-Chi. You sure you're not diving for Vegeta? You sure you're not diving for 1v1s with Superman. Yeah, like Chi-Chi just smells like decaying flesh. Would that what would that be fun? Okay, back to the discussion. Bad character designs. Favorite? Not favorite. Bad character designs. I'll go. I think Yunjin has pretty bad character design. And here's why. Being a Geo character, you almost don't leverage her Geo effects apart from resonance and her normal attacking buff. The fact that she's oftentimes paired in teams with Zhongli means like shields, whatever shield she can provide or it's absolutely useless. She has a defense scaling to an offensive ability. What she should have been is a character that can layer some sort of additional offensive capabilities in conjunction with her normal attack buff. I think it's a missed opportunity to build Yunjin into a more offensive character as opposed to this weird juxtaposition of mixed hybrid defense scaling offensive character for normal attack. Sure, Geo Resonance, amazing. Normal attacking buff, great niche to have, but apart from that, her kit makes like half a sense. Is Ayato Yunjin a joke with you and Yoimiya crying into... No, I'm not saying she doesn't have synergies. She has synergies, but her kit, I'm saying this character's kit is a missed opportunity. You're saying this, but she has killer eyeliner. Nah, bro. You know who has the best eyeliner game in the whole series? Look at that. Do you think Hu Tao helps him draw these on, or he just does it himself? No, he has to be doing it himself, because I refuse to believe Hu Tao can draw this man's eyeliner on every day without like fucking with him and like drawing some like a penis on one side or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Zhongli does his own eyeliner. Unless Tartaglia does it for him. You know, every day he brings his little eyeliner kit over to Tartaglia, takes out a fat loan from Tartaglia and gets Tartaglia to draw the eyeliner on for him. All right, settle down, people. Settle down. You know, hey, put your pants back on, people. Put your pants back on. Relax. Relax. It's not that kind of stream. Put your... Hey, put the lotion away. Anyways, we're talking about Yunjin. I think Yunjin's character design, like Yunjin would be a very solid character if she was a Geo Xingqiu. If she was like a Geo Xingqiu, that's scaled with, I don't know, attack, energy recharge, some like elemental mastery. If she scaled with EM, I think she would have been. I think she would have been. She would have been fine. She would have been. She would have been a better character overall. Like that, but that's just what I think. I think Yunjin is one of those characters that people think she's fine because she has a good niche. Because like, oh, she buffs attack. No, like, but my point is, what if Yunjin was a pyro character that buffs normal attacks? What if Yunjin was a hydro character that buffs normal attack? What did you get my point, right? There's some missed opportunities with this character, and I just wish Hoyoverse would have explored their options a little bit more with Yunjin. And I think having her being let's say you can open her damage output with C4 and maximize her damage output with C6 along with her buffing. I think that would have been a great vertical scaling for Yunjin to have as well. So it's just like Hoyoverse didn't even think towards that. Yunjin is very weird but works. Yep, she's definitely, that's a great way. She's a very weird character, but she just works. And I think it's because Hoyoverse reverse engineered her. Hoyoverse looked at normal attacking carries and was like, what do they need to make them feel better, and then they just found the answer, they turned that answer into a character, and they didn't think more about it. So basically what I'm saying is her whole existence is to buff normal attack carries, which is such a weird niche that they didn't really think more about her kit apart from, let's just make her buff normal attacking carries. What does she scale off of? Fuck it, I don't care. Defense, whatever. Just give her something. That's all they were thinking about. Everything else was a hindsight. Everything else about Yunjin's kit is hindsight to Hoyoverse. They arrived at the conclusion they wanted to make a character that buffed normal attacking carries, and that's all they did. They made that, they scaled that with constellations, they shipped that out, and they never thought about anything else. So that's why I think she's a bad character by design. Again, I feel like I have to keep reiterating this. We're not talking about damage. We're not talking about meta. We're not talking about synergies. We're just talking about how the character's kit feels, right? Who's another character? Who's another character you guys feel like has missed opportunities or just generally bad design-wise? Ito. Okay, people who are saying Ito, let's do Ito first, and I see people saying Candace as well, but I've been seeing people typing Ito for a while now. Alright, please, type in chat, brief words, why do you guys think Ito is a bad character, and then we'll riff off that. We'll see, we'll go off of that, and we'll discuss. He's Geo, his clothes, his face. His team comps are too restricting. This is boring, but not bad design. Lord King Sandwich says, the way he looked at me funny. Mr. Jaya says, the worst design unit in Genshin. Is he though? Okay, so let's go with his mono teams are too restrictive. So he has very little teams to be paired with. I guess I can see how some people feel like that is a flaw, and playing mono teams, especially Geo mono teams, could feel a little bit boring. But most mono teams would end up this way, because let's look at, I mean, Cryo mono, it doesn't really have this issue because you have a Nemo in that team, right? You have Kazuha in those teams, or you have Sucrose in those teams. So there's a little more nuance going on with those comps. But Ito is just Bunga Bunga. And you know what's another problem with Ito teams is not only is he a mono, not only is Ito played in a mono Geo team, but he's also played as a hyper carry. So what that means is like you literally have this man on the field 90% of the time, and all he does is you hold down left click and press E. No, like that's it. So I guess this is I kind of can see why Ito is boring to play. It's because not only is this man in a mono Geo team, which consists likely of up to 4 Geo characters, maybe 3, but he also hogs the field time so damn much that you don't get to experience the other characters, right? You have Goro, you have Albedo, you have Zhongli, and then you have Ito. Zhongli, Goro, Albedo combined stays on the field for like 5-6 seconds at a time. And everything else is Ito. So you have all these characters, you've built all these characters, but they never get to come onto the field to do anything. And Ito just hogs everything. He hogs the spotlight, which is very characteristic of this man. Right? So we are fine with Ito being restricted in mono Geo, but not with Nilou. I call it hypocrisy. The thing is, Nilou has more reactions that she's working with. Nilou has her hyper bloom. Nilou is built around one reaction, and if you want to be copium, you could play Nilou in other teams. But what does Geo have? Geo can be played in mono Geo and crystallize. And let's be honest, is crystallize a well-designed reaction? I think Hyper Bloom is a well-designed reaction to a certain extent. It's not the best design when it comes to reaction. I think the Electro Dendro reactions are far better when it comes to how interesting they are. But Geo's got Geo and crystallize. That's the two options Ito have. And tell me, like, be real with me. What kind... Like, I can't even say this with a straight face. Are you guys seriously proposing Geo, like, Ito can be played in, a fun crystallized team? Are you guys just going to pair him with one of each element and be like, look, the color of the rainbows. Rainbow Ito crystallized meta team. It's like, is that fun? Seeing different colors of the shields pop onto the ground? So it's just like, at the very least, Nilou is being funneled into two different elements. So meaning you have doubled the amount of accessible characters as compared to Ito. Ito plays with Geo, especially if you want to pair him with Goro. You want that, I think it was like the third, you need 3 Geos on the team to get Goro's maximum skill effects. So it's like you're just messing around with Geo all day. And let's be honest, how often do we see a Geo character being released? So it's just like, I can understand why, a lot of people would say Ito is a character that's not so interesting to play. Mono Geo is a very strong. I know Mono Geo is one of the stronger teams. You know why? It's because if they don't make Mono Geo strong, there is quite literally no reason to ever touch this character. There's no synergies. There's nothing fun. They have Geo and Crystallize. That's all they have. Right? So they have to make Mono Geo strong. In fact, I think Mono Geo is probably the best mono team in the game when fully invested into. I'd say even outpacing Cryo. We haven't gotten a new Geo since 2.4. Yeah, that's another problem with Ito, is that in order to revitalize his team or to get more options, more playstyles, you need Geo characters. You absolutely need Geo characters. Unless they eventually release a buffing character that buffs charge attacks. Right? Let's say they release a I don't know, like a Dendro character or something that buffs charge attacks. Sure. Sure. Another niche unit, you can slot it right into Ito team, make his charge attacks do more damage. But you guys see what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you do. As long as Geo and Crystallize remains the same, Ito will only function in one way, and that is his Unga Bunga style. I'm not saying he's like a terrible character. He's a solid carry if you just want things to be simple and straightforward. But I think his kit design is like maybe a little too simplified, a little too easy. I don't know if most people is able to play Ito for like months on end. I don't know. Maybe they can. Maybe they can be like, what you mean? I've been playing Ito since he came out, baby. Ganyu is like, yes, I think a lot of people would say Ganyu falls into a similar issue. Is that it's very monotonous. So people say like, oh, Ganyu has poor character design as well. Even though she does a lot of damage, remember, they can be strong characters but have poor kit design. I think the whole point of Ganyu is quality over quantity, the opposite of Yoimiya. Yoimiya is quantity over quality at all costs. Just shoot fast, but not as hard. Ganyu, but like if you evaluate Ganyu's kit, with the only downside is like, yes, she plays around her charge attack. Her normal attack is quite literally useless. But she has a lot going for her in her kit. She has a taunt in her elemental skill. She has immense cryo application with her burst skill, and when played ideally, that cryo application can actually output a lot of damage. And it's AoE per icicle, so it's an AoE skill with single targeting, but the single targeting abilities within her large AoE also has smaller AoEs. So it's actually a lot of damage going on. So, and yeah, and she buffs cryo through her passive. And also if you want her C1, she can also decrease, I believe, was it decrease enemy cryo resistance as well. She has a lot going for her. The only thing Ganyu doesn't have is like healing and shielding, pretty much. When it comes to damage, when it comes to application, she pretty much has it all. Doesn't the same apply to Eula then? I would say Eula is a character that suffers from the lack of options, really. I wouldn't say Eula's kit is bad. I mean, you guys might disagree, but I think Eula's kit is fine, but it's just right now she has no options. She has very little options to facilitate her playstyle. Maybe in the future, a character can come out that buffs physical attack and also reduces the stacks needed to fully. I don't know. I'm just pulling stuff out of my ass. Okay, here's the problem I've seen people have with Eula. So if you guys watch my videos, I've released a video recently titled "The Worst of the Best Characters," and a lot of people says like the problem they have with Eula is that they end up having to fish for her burst a lot. So when they run Eula, it's very awkward having to build up her burst and getting enough hits to max charge her burst. And then also when they use the burst, you gotta fish for crit. And then you also got to make sure that the burst hits everything. And when your camera is only facing a certain direction, third person perspective, it's very difficult sometimes to make sure everybody is grouped together. And for the most part, people don't run any Anemo characters with her simply because there's very little synergy apart from the fact that you can group them all so you can kill them all with one burst. But that is like with good enough player skill, you can do that without the need of a Nemo character. Right, so I don't know. I don't know. I honestly feel like I think Eula is fine if she had a better teams around her. But what I think maybe give grouping abilities to like an electro character or give grouping abilities to another cryo character, make it more consistent for her to hit all the enemies on the field. Maybe that could alleviate some of the annoyance when it comes to running Eula in your teams. Eula's is even hard to play vs bosses because they can run away from the burst. Yeah. Some bosses nowadays have like dashes, just like the wolves, right? They can disappear. They just teleport into another dimension, and then you can't hit them. So yes, there's definitely issues and caveats that people have to work around just to make Eula work. Yeah, so I think when it comes to character design fluidity, Eula, like she isn't the best, but she isn't the worst. She has a very high risk, high reward playstyle. Yes, it's very risky to spend all that time charging up an ability, not really doing as much damage as other potential carries. But once you line everything up, you get that crit, you get the crit to happen, and then you make sure every enemy is in the vicinity. There's no damage loss per enemy hit or something, so they all take the same amount of damage, which is absolutely insane. And the more enemies you have, the easier it is for you to stack her burst stacks as well. So, yeah. Okay, people wanted to talk about Candace. What do you guys don't like about Candace? Again, I'm just here to facilitate this conversation. I'm not here to say yes, no, whatever. I'm just wanting to see why you guys think Candace is a poorly designed character. Let's see it. Candace, just because of scaling. Elemental infusion for other characters is a bit awkward. I feel like Candace is waiting for Dehya. Yeah, it's very difficult to put a finger on Candace and some of these other more recent characters because oftentimes Hoyoverse release characters in incomplete states. Not that their kits are missing parts, but their synergies, their best in slot teams, and oftentimes characters either meant to be supporting or whatnot haven't arrived in the game yet, or like in some severe cases entire artifact sets are missing. And you guys know how important artifacts are, especially with how busted some of the more recent artifacts are with their effects. It's just like artifacts are getting more and more important. Back in the day, it's just like, okay, you got some 2 and 2-piece sets and 4-piece sets. Now the disparity between 2 and 2-piece set and straight up 4-piece set just seems too damn big. It just feels too big, and Hoyoverse refused to make it up through scaling numbers. I think it's because their plan is always eventually they're gonna release dedicated artifact sets, so they don't want to have to deal with power creep issues down the line. Ugh. Not for Zhao. 4-piece set for Zhao is not better than 2 and 2. Well, you see, that's another problem in itself. It just means Zhao has no dedicated artifact set, which is actually tragic if you think about it. Truly, it is tragic if you think about it like that. Zhao doesn't even have like a purely dedicated artifact set that is leaps and bounds above the rest. I think at this point, Hoyoverse sees Zhao and was like, you know what? He's functioning fine. All the people who play him loves him, and why even bother? Like, why revitalize these old units? I wonder when is Zhao's next rerun. That's gonna be interesting. I wonder how well he's gonna sell now that Scaramouche is out. Is the new set coming? Is the new coming set good for Zhao? I would imagine it's not bad, but how much of it is going to, like, for example, if people say like, "Oh my God, you get 30% extra damage for like," then it would be amazing. But I find that hard to. I find that incredibly hard to believe that they would give that much power to a new set. What's likely going to happen is they're just gonna make Zhao. They're just going to make Scaramouche a better and more well-rounded version of what's his name, Zhao. Like that's like, honestly, that's what I think is going to happen. Which at this point, I think I've given up. It is what it is. If they want Zhao to just be like an average tier character compared to these newer ones, is like, and the interesting thing is that a lot of people who play Zhao will defend it to the end. They'll be like, oh, you know, Zhao is fine. I don't see any issues with the problem. Like, it's not really a problem with Zhao. Is a problem with how the design philosophy for Hoyoverse is pushing, and it's not really pushing damage. You have to at least give it them. It's like they're not pushing damage. They're just pushing. They're heavily pushing utility. They're just making sure that utility-wise, these newer characters just feel so much more smooth to play. They're just so much better overall. Like, synergy-wise, they like fun. I know fun is subjective, but I honestly feel like the newer characters, when their kits do work, is more fun. Like Nahida, is pretty damn fun. Like, gotta say, like, I think that's one of the strength when it comes to Hoyoverse's design, is that at least they're moving forward in generally they're moving forward in a better direction. When it comes to the old characters, I think they were very open to ideas. For example, Hu Tao, right? how they when they designed Hu Tao, they probably had very little reference characters, so they just designed a character, and she ended up great, and they scaled future characters to Hu Tao, which then ends up in puts us in situations where like, okay, so these characters are being scaled to Hu Tao, and of course they don't want to power creep Hu Tao, so they just always make them hover around Hu Tao, and then maybe a little more reserved. And also Hu Tao C6 isn't that good, so likely they want to cover that difference in the future as well. Be like, okay, so we're going to make characters not as strong as Hu Tao at C0, but as you get closer to C6, they start scaling to her level, or maybe even surpass her. So I think that's why like modern characters, like talking about Candace, is just like, she's so damn new right now. I don't know how to evaluate this character. Like, I don't want to get quoted 3 patches down the line, be like, Walrus, is this you calling Candace, a bad character, when like 3 patches down the line she's like the most meta character and she's busted as fuck and everybody is just wanting to C6 her? Obviously, 4-star characters having that kind of glow up is very rare and almost never happens. But I can't help but to think, like, you can't really count them out until at least their niche has been utilized by a character and confirmed to suck ass. Then you can be like, well, she sucks. But then a character like Toma, we've been dogging on him for over a year now, and suddenly people are now like, oh, he's pretty damn good in some version teams. Might be copium, but there's got to be some level of truth to that synergy for people to come out and say good things about it. Lilac says, we'll never have 4 stars as good as the early Mondstadt ones again, even in other regions. I actually made a video about that, talking about why. Like, so it's, I don't think, or at the very least, I don't think we can count Candace out just yet. I think there's probably like a 10-15% chance Candace might be an okay character. If she remains as the way she is, like, she's just never gonna find a place where she truly belongs. So, I think we have to talk about Sino. We have to talk about Sino. If we're talking about bad character design, Sino is one of those characters that you just can't not talk about when it comes to design problems. I don't know what it is. It's very easy to just say, well, if they gave him more damage, he's gonna be fixed. Yeah, like, definitely he'll feel a lot better to play if he did more damage, because right now it takes too many, like, burst uptime along with burst downtime, uptime to downtime, along with a high cost energy for his burst, cannot cut away from him in his burst state. Like, I think if they made the change where you can switch to another character mid burst for Sino and then switch back, you can actually leverage the long duration of his burst a lot better. Imagine a character's burst lasting as long as Sino's, but allows you to cut back and forth. Like, it would be so much more fun. So much more fun. And I feel like even adding a constellation where at C4 or something, when you switch off of Sino, like an Electro Shadow clone of Sino will remain on the field and continue to do damage. But if you don't, but then it cuts his cooldown. It cuts the duration of his burst down by half. And if you return, if you take over go back, then it restores your duration. So basically, you shouldn't be staying on that, like something like that. I think there's just a lot of missed potential with this character, and I think giving him off-field damage abilities for vertical sailing would have been an interesting take on the character. because Yai Miko as a character was supposed to be played as like a burst support, right? Like you just switch to her, use her burst, and reset and go. Like sure, she's also doing some support DPS, but her support DPS like isn't like at the very least at C0 isn't something crazy. It's good, but not crazy. Her burst damage is pretty decent. And then as you ascend to C6, Yamiko becomes an amazing burst support as well as an amazing off-field DPS. Right? Both of those can coexist then. So I think as the same thing could be for Sino, that as you scale him up, he can leverage his long burst duration a lot better. Like I said, one example would be to summon, like replace him with an electro clone of himself that continues attacking and using that continuous attacking and can synchronize your elemental skill. Actually, I don't even know how that character would be designed. Maybe he'll just use elemental skill on his own, so he'll just continue attacking but reduces the duration of the burst by half. So that means you'll have a longer downtime if you choose to end his burst by switching to another carry to deal damage. Yeah, I don't know. I think they should at the very least have made Sino's burst not go away when you switch off of him in his burst state and just let you switch back. Pablo loses, but you don't need to stay on field for duration. Yeah, obviously you don't, but then it kind of defeats the purpose of having that duration. And I feel like if HoYoverse designs a character a certain way, they should have at least explored the strength of that character a little bit more. In Sino's case, his biggest strength was how long his burst lasted, but because HoYoverse refused to develop that advantage of his, instead of being an advantage, most people saw it as a flaw in his kit. And even with Nahida now available for us, it still just doesn't feel as good when pairing Sino with Nahida, because pairing with Nahida, you actually could play quick swap teams with Nahida. Nahida is very flexible in that she can play with a lot of different teams, and I think it's very common for people to say that quick swap teams are just more fun because there's more going on. Mr. Johnny's asking, yo, do you think the TCG will be forgotten like fishing after 3 months? No, I don't think it will. In the beginning, I think it's going to be pretty hype because it's a new permanent feature. All the content creators are likely going to at least make a video about it, and some probably will stream it casually every now and then. But after a couple months, because the discussion about it will die down, content creators will talk about it less. People just won't talk about it as much, but I think it's still going to be a played feature. Especially in patches where they release new cards, maybe release new rules or something like that for the mode. I think people are going to be pretty happy with that. Right? People are going to be like, "Oh my god!" They're going to come back, talk about it, how it fits in the meta. People are going to make meta decks. I think it's like, what is there to talk about fishing? Like, people made guides about how to get the R5 catch in like a couple days or something. I don't remember. It was like. And that was it. What other things could you talk about? Oh my god, look at the different like kind of fishes there are in the game. Nobody cares about that. So I think it's definitely going to be a more dynamic game mode. The teapot is static, fishing is static, but I think the card game is going to be more dynamic. Will I be playing day in, day out all the time? Probably not. I'm probably going to grind it a little bit in the beginning, try to figure out what's a good deck, maybe try to figure out a cheese deck. Right? Cheese decks are always fun. Too bad there's not like a rank ladder or something, so like you could be the best TCG player in the whole world and nobody would care. Termina 27 is saying, I wonder if the next new Geo character will somehow revitalize the crystallized reaction by improving it a la Nilu's bountiful cores. I've actually talked about this. Super crystallized. super crystallize. I think that's the only saving grace for crystallize. I think each element for crystallize should have a unique effect if you change them to super crystallize. I think pyro crystals should explode. Cryo crystals should freeze, and electro crystals should spread and CC enemies. So depending on how you want to synergize, so if you want to, and each of these crystals, so after the pyro crystals explode, it lingers and creates a pyro application on the enemies. The cryo crystals, after it explodes, it freezes the enemies in a small radius and also applies cryo on them. The electro ones, when it explodes, it latches onto enemies and CCs them and deals a little bit of damage, kicking damage, and it applies electro. And then what's the last one again? Hydro. What should Hydro do? What should Hydro do? I don't know. Hydro heals your enemies. Maybe Hydro heals. Yeah. Like maybe Hydro heals, or after it explodes, yeah, maybe it heals. Yes, like something like that. Like I think super crystallize could be interesting if they develop each element's crystals. So then that would be so then you would run, suddenly Albedo would be broken as, like, can you guys imagine Albedo? And then you can stack EM. Holy smokes. Imagine like EM Albedo with like, who's going to be the carry on that team? Like who's going to be the on-field character? Maybe Hu Tao could be on-field. You still probably run double Geo. Yeah, like super crystallize could be fun. You run Hu Tao, you run Yelan, and then Zhongli. So then you have Pyro and Hydro. You got some actually, did you want healing though? Do you want to have healing? Maybe a little bit. You can have a pseudo healer. Actually, that's pretty interesting, because then with any Geo and Hydro character, you have a healer on the team. Pretty cool. I think that could be a direction Hoyoverse takes it in. I think that would be an interesting direction they could take it in. Are they going to do it? Probably not. Highly doubt that they're going to do it like that, because Hoyoverse is has shown in the past that innovation doesn't matter to them as much as monetization. Yeah, and depending on how ICD works, you can probably have like 4 or 5 pyro crystals on the ground, and then they all explode. And then you should have a Nemo be able to group crystals, so then you can probably have like pyro crystals grouped with a bunch of different crystals. You can have like 4 or 5, like 4 different crystals all combined together, and they all explode at the same time, just having a bunch of chaos while like a Nemo is swirling the elements and then just going crazy all on the map. Ooh, that could be a lot of fun. Too bad Hoyoverse ain't gonna do a thing about it. Will physical units ever return? I don't know. I honestly don't even know where Hoyoverse would start with physical units. Like, honestly, where can they even start? What can they really realistically do to physical units to make them shine? Not just playable, because they're like, let's be honest, right now they are playable already. But what can Hoyoverse do to make them shine? Make them feel relevant. Make them feel like, you know, they're part of the game again, as opposed to just being like this, like whatever the hell they are right now, right? It's like neglected. Just make them deal. I mean, I feel like we need a physical character that this is so, like, physical carries can only play in one comp, and that is a super conduct comp, right? Like, can we say physical characters can play in a melt comp, can play in a you know, like Dendro comp? it has to be superconduct. So you have one cryo, one electro already in the team. So then you build your team around that. It's just incredibly restricting. It feels a little too restricting, in my opinion. Physical should be strong against any shield. That would be good. Yeah, like, right. I think physical should straight up bypass the shield. Like, hear me out. Cassie Mangus is sup, bros. What's up, Cat? It's been a while. Yeah, we're just talking about potentially bad characters. Yeah, we landed on physical carries. Right now, I think physical probably should just bypass shields, and it gives them a huge purpose in the game. Like, anytime you run into a shielder, just run a physical carry. Physical ignore defense buff. Yeah, like having physical carries also run Raiden's C2 would be pretty strong as well. Having physical carries that like physical carry has one benefit is like you can, if you have two off-field characters that can apply elemental synergies. For example, let's say you have like a character such as Xingqiu, Bennett. Oh, basically national. Run a physical carry with the national team, and then have Xingqiu doing vape with Xiangling's thing while the physical carry on field is doing respectable damage as well. That could work, but then you lose out on superconduct. So like it's very difficult because there just aren't the characters that we need in the game. Let's say an off-field powerful, I mean Fischl is pretty strong. Off-field electro character or an off-field cryo character, but in Ganyu that could also work. I remember I used to run Ganyu in some really wacky Eula teams, but like they never felt very comfortable and fun to play because Eula felt too punishing. And I think going forward, Hoyoverse needs to make a physical carry that's less punishing, more leverage, more leeway, more forgiving to play. I think that would be better. Ignoring shields is the best solution to make them great. Yeah, that's definitely something that can give them a more concrete role in the game, right? You're too annoying to build different meta elemental teams against shielders. Just run physical. They straight up ignore it, right? That solves a problem. Be like, if you don't have enough resources to combat elemental shielding enemies, just build a physical carry. That would be great. I think that would be a pretty cool start. How about a support that makes physical damage into true damage? Huh. Kind of getting into some broken territories here, my friend. Like, I could see it work. True damage, does true damage even exist in Genshin right now? I don't think so. That sounds so broken, like true damage. I don't think we can have like on hit true damage. I think maybe one instance of true damage could be good, but like giving a full true damage window, that's even more broken than Raiden C2. Can you guys see how busted Raiden C2 is, right? Like, can you guys imagine true damage? Maybe in a 5-star C6 they can give that kind of buff. And that would even a C6 with that kind of support capability, that is severe power creep. Disgusting. True damage. True damage is like every tank's worst nightmare. Like hearing true damage, like, oh, basically you're saying all these defense, all this stat is just utterly useless in the face of your true damage. That damn straight. Absolutely useless. It exists. It was in Abyssal Moon. Ah. Ah. Yeah, true damage is gonna power creep a lot of characters. But you can't count it out. You cannot count it out. Oh my goodness. But yep. I'm gonna have to go away and edit the teaser reaction, and then I'm gonna upload it, and I'm gonna call it a day. Honest to critics says true damage is damage that equals 30% lower resistance on all elements. I thought true damage was like ignoring all resistances. You just do true damage. Whatever the hell you were supposed to do, whatever the hell your damage calc comes out to be, that's the damage you will deal on the enemies. That's true damage. Raiden boss fight has true damage? It does? Is her one shot the true damage mechanic? Or is that a one shot mechanic? Like you can probably have a billion HP, she'll still one tap you. It's definitely incredibly difficult because true damage would be like a new playable mechanic, right? So although it's an interesting discussion to have, I don't think it's gonna come anytime soon. One shot mechanic, yeah, that's the Raiden thing. I don't know. I don't know if I don't remember if Raiden's boss fight had true damage mechanics. Only boss I have trouble with is Rifthound King. Rifthound King is so damn annoying. Like, but if you have a lot of characters, you definitely have teams that have a much easier time. Yes. Doing it. Why did Walrus lie and say he's 50 years old? Dude, I am 50 years old. What you mean? Thunder Menace Vision isn't that hard. It's just extremely annoying because you have to keep chasing after. See, that's the thing. You know, a character that would be great against the Thunder Manifestation would be Eula. But do you know how annoying it would be to miss her burst fighting that boss? Can you imagine Thundering Manifestation in the second half like it is right now? And then you run Eula in the second half and try to kill it, and then you miss your burst. And then you have to redo the first half. Absolutely disgusting. You know what they should have done? They should have made her burst latched onto the enemy that her strike did. And they should latch onto every single enemy that her ult hit. And then when you hit them, it stacks on them. So they can freaking teleport, spin, go up, go down, left, right. It can go to another dimension. But once that thing pops, it hits them no matter where they are. Press 1 in chat if you think that should have been how it was designed. I think they should have just made her slash the enemies. That sounds OP. That's not OP because that's what people are fishing for anyways. It's just incredibly meticulous to get that right now. If they made that one slash apply her burst stack on them, and then you just need to go hit them and stack it up. You still gotta go hit them, stack. Now they can go like now. And imagine you stacked all that up, and suddenly they blinked away somewhere else. It's still gonna explode. And it's instance of damage that's not AoE anymore. It's just to themselves. Whoever has the mark on them gets hit by that damage. Whatever you stacked, that's what you do. It's not AoE. But if you hit all of the enemies with your burst, which you still have to fish for, like you got to make sure you got to hit as many as you can, ideally all of them, then you have a great setup. You don't need to fish for it as much. They should have made it like that. That would have made a lot more sense and much less frustrating to fish for it. Because you still have to fish for the crit. Don't forget, not only do you have to make sure these freaking bosses with 20 different movement abilities is in range when the thing bursts, you also have to fish for a crit on your burst. Like sometimes getting that hit is not enough. It has to crit for it to be justified. But the skill and spacing aspect of the ult would be lost. Yes, you would lose that, but that's also you'd say that's skill and spacing, but But a lot of people find that to be extremely, extremely frustrating. I think it's one of the main reasons why even people who have Eula refuse to play her in a lot of scenarios. It's just because how annoying it is to fish for her ult to crit and hit all the enemies. And imagine if you finally get one that crits, but then you miss that one big guy who was standing like just a little too far away from you. Just a little too far away, just outside of the range. Well, guess what? You have to restart the whole chamber because you can't justify stacking up your burst again just using it on one enemy, because then after that you have another wave of enemy coming that you just don't have enough time. It's too punishing. That aspect is just too punishing. So I think that would have been pretty cool. And her constellation, like I think maybe one of her constellation could be like all of the marked enemies get stacked simultaneously. And once the ult explodes, it's calculated based on the most stacked enemy. Then everything becomes unison, meaning you hit all of them, but you don't have to stack it on all of them. You just need to stack it on one enemy. And that could be a constellation 2 or something. So this way, you just need to focus on that one guy, and C6 can be the same. It helps you stack faster, and you can get to max stat. So you just hit everybody, and then focus on one guy, stack it to the max, and then when it explodes, it hits every single one of them for max stacks. And then you can solve that issue through constellations. Well, hindsight is 2020. They probably didn't mean to make her that annoying. They didn't. Of course they didn't. It's just the enemies they designed in the future, they didn't take into account how annoying it would have been for Eula. And even if they did, I don't think they give a shit. Like, quite frankly, I don't think they give a shit if she was annoying. Oh, Jabba, are you okay? Oh, Jabba, come here. Okay. Oh, good girl. You've been squeaking this whole time. Very squeak. You guys want to see Jabba the cat? All right, Jabba the cat. Jabba the cat. Ooh. Oh, Jabba the cat. Oh, this toy is so moist, and it smells like dried saliva. Oh my goodness. What is this? Her toy fell and she picked it back up. Oh no, it fell. Okay, you can go. Good girl. Good girl. Ooh. Okay, that's gonna be that for today. The next time we see each other, Scaramouche would be out, right? Scaramouche comes out Tuesday. Does the cats like Jabba now? Not really. Jabba is a little too intrusive. That's the problem. Jabba is a little too intrusive, aren't you? So, yeah. I'm gonna go work on that video. I'll probably have it out within 30 minutes. Just need to cut out some awkward bits. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Good luck on your Scaramouche summons. And, yeah. Stay safe. Peace. Same old. Bye.